here to try and help you with a few of the basics. Even today when I go and train with the top riders, we always stick first with the basics. We always go over the basics over and over again because that is the foundation to have to build on your off-road skills. As you can see, an off-road motorcycle is really tall. It's not like a street bike. So weight distribution is really important because when you stand or sit, the bike is going to move a lot. Okay, so let's start with the most basic thing is where to sit on an off-road motorcycle. You know, I see a lot of guys sitting maybe too far back or sitting maybe too far forward, you know, or you need to be able to sit in a sweet spot. For an off-road bike, right here in the middle of here is where you want to sit. You don't want to sit too much in front, you know. I've seen constantly that in the local circuits and all of that, there's a lot of guys that sit right up at the tank where the T-stem is. You know, it's too close to the front. You're loading the front a lot. The dirt bikes always want to be steered with the rear wheel, which means with the power. So if you sit too much in front, you're loading the front too much. So this is a good neutral spot to start with and to sit. And when you sit on a motorcycle that's going off-road, you want to have your elbows up. It's just because a motorcycle like this is obviously going to move a lot and the surface is undulating. So you want to be able to use the big muscles in your body, whether it's the back or the chest, you want to be able to use that muscles to stabilize the bike. But that being said, most important thing on a motorcycle is to be able to hold the motorcycle with your core, which starts with your legs. Okay. The thing that I've seen most people make the mistake is when they sit on a motorcycle, in the beginning they hold the tank, but as soon as you start to ride, the legs start to give way and they open up. The legs have to always be in contact with the motorcycle, and you need to hold the motorcycle together to get the feedback from it, because the bike is always talking to you. Because when you're riding outside on the track, there is no traction, and the only way the bike can communicate to you is through the wheels and then through the pegs and through your legs, and you can feel that in the lower part of your body. So make sure you hold the bike with your core and with your legs. The next thing that we move forward to is the hands and the controls. Since off-road, when you guys go off-road and you try and ride, the first thing that you will have is arm pump. Okay, that's because you're not used to the motorcycle moving a lot and the surface offers no traction. So the first thing that you do is you clench. By clenching, you're not going to have more traction on the bike. You're just going to tire yourself out and you're going to get arm pump. So the best way to ride an off-road motorcycle is to be relaxed. And it's like a dance. You know, the bike's going to move, you have to move with it. So in order to do that, always have your hands relaxed and your elbows up in a good position like this. And when it comes to the levers, whether it's the brake or the clutch, always have one finger minimum on the brake or the clutch. Never grab the brake or the clutch with more than one or two fingers. Even when you come into braking zones, I've seen people, they grab a handful to try and stop the bike. Everything needs to be to rest. It needs to be really smooth. You know, even in terms of braking, when you get on the brakes, try and learn to squeeze the brakes like you would for a trigger for a gun. You know, because all the braking that you do is from the front. Even though it's an off-road bike, I think many people have this notion that we use the rear brake to try and stop the bike. It's never the case. It's a motorcycle, it's still the same. Whether you ride it off-road or on-road, all the power for braking happens in the front. So make sure you try and use that front brake. 70% minimum you need to use to be able to stop the bike. And then the rear brake, of course, you use it for directional changes. You know, sometimes when the bike is unsettled, going into a straight, coming into braking, you use the rear brake to settle it down. But most of the braking is done in the front. The next thing that you want to hold the bike. Nelly, money, hold the bike. Okay. The thing is, when you ride off-road, you want to be able to stand up and ride a motorcycle. Like you see in the Dakar, all the guys are standing up and riding. It's not because it looks really cool that you can slide the bike around the corner and you can stand up and put that tail out, but it's just because the bike is really big and there's so much weight on it that you want to be able to stand up and put weight where you need it on the front. And also when you stand up and ride, you allow the bike to move a lot more. You know, when you sit, the bike reacts and then you react with the bike. But when you stand up, you allow the bike to freely move with the surface underneath. So standing up actually gives you better control. And standing up also allows you to find the sweet spot on the motorcycle. Like you see, all of us, we move back and forth. We move it because at all times we're trying to be neutral on the bike. Whether I'm back here, it's not a position that's comfortable. But this is a position that is comfortable when you're braking really hard and coming into a corner. This is the sweet spot that you want to be, because all the forces are acting in front. So at all times, when you ride off-road, make sure that you allow yourself to move and feel where that spot is. And don't get stuck to one certain technique or certain position on a motorcycle. This I think would pretty much cover as much as I can today. It's being a crash course, but I'm going to go out and have some fun, ride some laps on the track, and we'll probably see some of these forces working. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry.